Okay, good evening, everybody. Oh, I'm in a bloody cafe. I'm in a bloody cafe. Right, let me just get myself sorted. So I'll check the sound's okay, actually. How's the sound? How's the sound? Okay, good evening, everybody. Oh, I'm in a bloody cafe. I'm in a bloody... Okay, that's quite loud, isn't it? I'm not sure if I'm running through my earpods or if I'm running... Let me just change my background. Hey, back home. I'm not sure if I'm running through my AirPods or if I'm just running through the standard mic. No, I'm just running through the standard mic. There we go. So, how are we all this evening? Is everyone good? Can you hear me okay? Is it okay sound-wise? I'm just going to move the screens around so I can see the comments. Sound-wise okay, screen-wise okay, everyone quite happy and content with what it looks like? Bit of an echo, bit of an echo. I can probably lose the echo in fairness. How's that? Is that better? Try that one. Good evening, Dave. Good evening, Cheryl from North Wales, who have been our lockdown couple for weeks, but not tonight. Oh no, tonight everybody is a lockdown person. Okay. Louise is here, Kerry's here, Laura's here, Kirsty's here, Keely's here. I say that because I don't think I've seen Kirsty for a little while. I do try and keep a tab of who's in and who's not and stuff like that. Morris is here, Laurie's here, Keely. Okay, let me just put my AirPods away. Right, okay, so last week was a little bit shit because I wasn't very well. Don't worry, as you can probably tell, I am back. Pumping, firing all cylinders, a little cut on my finger, but other than that, I am all good. So loads and loads to plow through tonight. Normally, this is unscripted, it's unprepared, it's unprepared, it's unplanned. A little bit different tonight because I do have a kind of a theory of what I was going to chat about. It's not scripted, so we will do it a little bit ad hoc. I was going to use my board. I was actually going to use my phone tonight. Put my phone up here, shoot onto the board. Don't even know. Shoot onto the board. I was going to write some stuff up on the board as we went, basically. But I've left my tripod at work, so I don't know how easy that's going to be. Let me just have a flick through. Everyone can hear. Everyone can hear. Oh my God, my mum's here. Okay, so best behaviour from that. Let's have a quick look. You will. Family is safe. Right, checking our attendance. It's like clicking a register, isn't it, Keely? Right, Miss Butcher. Okay, cool. So yes, I am absolutely feeling better, as I said. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate I only jumped on for a very short period last week. I was really fucking ill. And that's unusual for me. I don't normally get sick. Like it's quite rare I get ill. But yeah, I was really ill for a couple of days. It was over New Year's Eve as well, which always sucks. So yeah, that wasn't great. Lockdown's obviously now kicked in. So I know we're all locked down in different places, in different walks of life, and we can talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, so that's obviously a bit shit, but hey, at least there's a vaccine on the way. Loads happening in the US. We can just talk about stuff like that all the time. I am wearing my John hoodie, absolutely. It wasn't even planned. It was just so happened to be what I have on. Now I'm going to try something and see if this will work, because I'm not sure if I'm going to use my board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just open up a document, because I can type, because I wanted to write some stuff basically as we go, so I can sort of kind of explain it as we go, if you will. I quite like doing that. I like having sort of flip charts and boards and things like that, so I can write as I go. Generally, it's easier for me as well. Now, I don't know if this is going to work, because what I'm thinking I might be able to do is, if I make the screen big enough, is I might be able to share my screen. Let's have a quick look. I might be able to share my screen and can I use the whiteboard? No, yeah, I might be able to do this. Let me see if I can do this, and if it keeps my picture, because I think that's the key thing, because you want to be able to see me, obviously. So let's try that. So what I've done is I've shared my screen. Can you still see me, or can you just see the screen? That's what I'm kind of after. I'll see it in a sec, actually, myself on Facebook, so I'll see what happens. You've still got me as well in the top left corner, so that's all good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack on this. We'll give this an attempt. We'll see how it works. I appreciate I'm quite small at the moment. But yeah, so right, New Year's resolutions. Let's do this one first. So New Year's resolutions are, that's how I should be, very, very small in the top right-hand corner out of the way. New Year's resolutions is something I don't really do. I'm not really buying into resolutions. I think they're kind of a big thing of setting yourself up for failure. I think, you know, that's the big challenge for them, really. Like I said, sort of setting yourself up for failure. So I'm not a huge believer in them. However, this year I did New Year's resolutions because and I'm going to go through the ones that I've set in place, and kind of I really sort of set three resolutions, and then they break down into more kind of goals and targets and such like that. So I'm going to run through that in a sec. The first thing though, and you've heard me talk about this before, because I've been planning this probably from mid-November when I had my expectations around what I thought was going to happen with lockdown, how that was all going to go. I'll talk more about that in a sec, so I can see how this is going to transpire all the way forwards, and this is how I've planned for my business, my personal life. So what I started doing in November was this. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. Let's do this, and some of you will probably see what's coming. So this is what I started doing in November. I'm just going to type it up. Hopefully, I'm just going to see how long it takes Facebook to catch me up. There we go, cool. I'm going to make it bigger so you guys can see it. There we go, perfect, excellent. So in November, I started making the plan for what I wanted to do. And then as I've been making it, that's fine. And then really it came down to focusing on all the little bits that I wanted to get right in that plan. So that kind of led me November into December. Focusing led me sort of through December, up until the 31st, although I was pretty dire ill, and then executing it, which is where we are right now, is executing my plan. So that's what I did, and I basically set myself a 3-goal target, should we say. So number one, if 2020 taught us anything, it is you shouldn't plan. 2020 taught us anything, it is that one. Number one is your health. So I am very much concentrating on my health for 2021. Now, I'm going to talk about that a second, because I've always been relatively healthy. I'm quite proud that I've always been relatively healthy. I think I was probably at the height of my health and well-being at around the age of 25, 26. I was a gym instructor. I was teaching a lot. I was working in a gym. I was exercising regularly, like 6-7 times a week. I was playing cricket and rugby and stuff like that. So I was quite sporty. But what I wanted to do now was just really kind of focus on a few key elements in there. So what I've done, I'm going to make it 1.8, is I've been focusing on my, it's nutrition, but I've been focusing on my food effectively. So I've been concentrating on that. So throughout January, I am not drinking any alcohol. So that's why I've got a cup of tea. Throughout January, I'm not eating any sugar. It's not additional sugar. So no chocolate, no sweets, no biscuits, no crisps, no cakes, nothing like that at all. Not even sneaking kind of like sugar onto your shreddies or wheat mix or anything like that. So I'm really kind of concentrating just in kind of what I'm eating, what's actually going in. And I tell you what, it's been so interesting because day before yesterday, I was massive. I've been really craving fruit. So I've been eating a lot of fruit, but day before yesterday, I started really craving salads. So yesterday and today, I've been eating salads, jack and potatoes and salads and stuff like that. So that's been really good. The other thing I've been doing is concentrating on my actual fitness. Oh, not my fitness, my fitness. So I've been concentrating on running. So I've been running every single day, not huge runs, anywhere between, I think 4 miles and 7 miles predominantly in the evenings, in the afternoons, when I come back from work. So I've been doing that. And I've been really enjoying that, getting on the treadmill, and yeah, so I've been happy with that. And the third one I'm doing, and this is a really important one, is mental. So mental is my mental health. And this is where people start laughing at me. So I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to ignore the laughs. This is where I like to get into the hot tub, because if I'm brutally honest with you, the stress, I'm going to use mental and I'm going to put the word stress next to it. It's not quite there. So the two sort of fit together. Actually, I might even put the word stress instead, because it is about reducing stress and reducing pressure on yourself. So I'm concentrating on those three things, which is obviously food intake, exercise, and mind, body, sort of all together, nutrition and stuff like that. And I am finding that's really kind of, even 7 days in, that has really focused me quite nicely to where I want to be. So I've been looking at that, and yeah, that's what I've been doing. Like I say, nothing over the top. I'm only going to stop eating sugar heavily through January, stop drinking through January, and I'll get back to it February. And what I'll probably do is I'll go into sort of cheat days, effectively, like have a cheat day 1 in 10 and stuff like that. And funny enough, Emma's been doing a similar thing, so she's been sort of following that as well. My hot tub is now fixed. Don't panic. So that's what I've been doing there. Right, let me move on to number 2. So number 2 is, do you know what? I'm going to be really honest here. I'm going to be really honest. And I'm going to put this in because this is where it's up to. I'm going to stick on another page so we can see it. Okay. So number 2, my number 2 focus for 2021 is my business. So obviously working on prisons. So we've got 2 of those. Just whacking times 2. There we go. Prison times 2. Not going to go into that too much detail. You guys know all about the prisons, so that's what I'm concentrating on there. I'm concentrating on TCG, which is the Campbell Group. So that's kind of like a centralized team, how that works. I've got a new business, so I'm going to call it New Biz, New Bus. A new business, which is on its way. So I've been concentrating on that and all the aspects inside them, basically. And really what I've been focusing on here is hitting my to-do list, hitting my goals and achieving little bits each day. And the way I've restructured the business, I talked a lot about that, but now we've really flown through it. I've moved offices. So previously I was in the same office, or like the same area as all of my centralized team. So HR, admin, marketing, finance, sales, all those guys were all connected in the same sort of top level offices, different little offices, but all up there. And we sat just above the operational team from Shrewsbury. They're all still there. I've moved into the prison. So I'm now on the very top floor. They call it the penthouse, but I'm now on the very top floor of the prison, in one of the old offices, above the execution room, above archives, and I'm in my own space, I'm in my own world. It's great for me, great for the team. It's almost like, in the nicest possible way, it's almost like I've retired or I've quit or I've moved on in my role from being part of the prison day-to-day running, the prison operational teams and the TCG operational teams. And now I've moved on, and there's other people that are doing that, and they've picked up the reins really, really well, despite lockdown. So concentrate on the businesses. So that's that one. And then really number 3, I'm just going to stick this in here. I'm going to have to do another one there. See how it's going to work. Oh. Sorry, this is all going wrong. Family and personal. Oh, hello. So now I put this, I was going to stick this at number 2. I nearly wrote it. You probably saw I started writing family, and this is a difficult one. I'll come into it in a sec, but my family and my personal is kind of different things in there. So one of the things I want to do is spend more time with kids. So what I'm going to do is just put kids. Spend more time with the kids. It is literally that simple. So doing that. The other thing I want to do is spend a bit more time on the house. There's a few things I'd like to do in the house. And the third thing I'd like to do is myself, which is things like learning to play piano, learning to read. Fuck, sorry, mum. Playing the piano, finding some time to do some reading. So one of the nice things about my new office is I've set my office up. So it's got some sofas and chairs. It's got sort of a nice comfy space so you can sit in and have sort of less formal kind of conversations. It's got a formal meeting table. It's obviously got a desk, and I can sit down at the chairs on the sofa and just read for half an hour. So I want to do that. And I was going to chuck this in at number 2. I nearly wrote it at number 2, but I'd be lying. If I had to prioritize the 3 things, I would be lying if I said family and personal was number 1 or number 2, because it's not. It's number 3. And that's not to say that my kids and my family and myself come after my business and my health. They don't. It's just at this specific moment in time with what I'm doing, with where I am in life, that is currently the audible stack. And there's some reasons behind it. The reason why health is number one is because, again, you heard me talk about this, and this is a really good time to do it now. It takes 90 days, well, it takes 80 days technically, so just under 3 months to embed and instill a behavior. You cannot change a behavior like that. You cannot change it in 10 days or 20 days or 30 days. It takes 80 to 90 days to instill psychologically, physiologically, a behavior as a routine, as a regular occurrence. Anything less than that, it's gone. So that's why I've put health at the top, because I'm going to keep that there for the next 90 days, because I want it to become a habit. I want it to become routine. I want it to become the core piece of how I do things. And like I said, 2020 taught us everything. Health should be so important to everybody, because coronavirus is a fucker, let's be honest. But the healthier you are, the more chance you have of surviving it. That's just a scientific fact. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. And also, coronavirus aside, you just live better, you're healthier, you're more comfortable. Everything's better and easier when you're healthy. And stress is obviously a big one. Number two, obviously, the business. That's where we are at the moment. That will probably continue. And obviously 3, family, personal, and they're going to move around a little bit, but my kids are not going anywhere. My house isn't going anywhere, hopefully. And I'm not going anywhere. That's for damn sure. So we've got all of that. So that's how I've done that again. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you. I'll stop sharing the screen so you can have my beautiful face all back. There we go. And I kind of just wanted to share that with you, like I say, because I was going to put it on the board. You'll be grateful I chucked it here because it autocorrects my spelling. But that's how I'm sort of doing my New Year's resolutions for this year. And I'll continue to talk about that. What about my wife? Oh, shit. Don't worry, Donna. She doesn't watch this. She never recaps on it. She'll never know. So it's fine. I won't even notice. So that's where we are there. So yeah, I wanted to share that. I really wanted to do that last week. I kind of had a plan for how I was going to go about it. Similar kind of way to last week. But like I said, I was so ill. So yeah, I couldn't do it. So that's where we're up to that. If you've done New Year's resolutions, I'd love to hear them. Do ping them to me, put them in the comments and such like that. And we can obviously, I'll pick those up and such. Right. So you pick up about Saturday. If you haven't seen it, this Saturday, we are back with a lockdown in Shrewsbury Prison. Now, we haven't done one of these since, I think Halloween was the last one, the last lockdown. And as you know, we're generally just too busy to organise these. So we're going to do one this weekend. We're going to be in Sea Wing. It's a couple of hours, 9 o'clock. It's kind of, I think we're going to go back, strip it right back down to, I think, a very, very original format. So the 3 of us in a wing, a couple of areas set up and going off and basically, I guess, looking for ghosts in the sense of, you know how it goes. So Lauren, me and Stacey, I'm actually thinking, because of the way COVID is at the moment, I think Stacey and Lauren will do most of the wandering around and hunting. And I will be based behind the desk doing the screen bits. I'm a little bit sad about it, if I'm honest, because we haven't upscaled our tech yet. So it's going to be going back to that format of recording screens and the lag between the vocals and the imagery. So I'm not, that's a bit of a bummer. But other than that, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it'll be good. And more importantly, hopefully it'll be entertaining. That's the key thing. Oh, Laurie says it has issues when commenting. I don't know, Laurie, but I do know if you tap into Google, I'm sure it'll give you an answer. So yeah, so that's how we're going to do the format. Maybe a little bit of music. I kind of want to play The Boys Are Back in Town when we start, just for Lauren and Stacey. But yeah, it's that's going to be it. It's back to our original format, and we'll see how often we're going to do them, where it goes from there. So we're just going to sort of try this one. Graham's live obviously worked the other day, so that was good. And I'm trying to think where I'm going to go next. Was the next place that we're going to go? What's the next talk about? Should we talk very quickly about lockdown? So I have made some predictions and I can share the screen and put them back up if you like. But I've made some predictions about lockdown. Now, I said last year, it was obviously very new for everybody going into lockdown. It caught everyone by surprise, literally everybody. So nobody was able to plan and prepare for it. Now, during the first lockdown, there was obviously a lot of talk about a second wave, possibly a third wave, so on and so forth. Everybody thought the second wave would come in the winter, where we are now. And what I did very much, and again, I did lots of videos on this, I did lots of this and Join Joel, was I planned. I can't reiterate enough how much I planned. And it was based on the fact of, if I plan for another lockdown and it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. I've wasted maybe a little bit of time. I wouldn't count it as wasted, but I've spent a little bit of time on something that I don't need. But should we have another lockdown, we're ready for it. We can react and we can move very, very quickly. And that's exactly what happened when we had the second lockdown back in October. We positioned ourselves as businesses. So both the prison, Shrewsbury Prison, Shepton Mallet Prison, the Campbell Group, and our events company, Most Events, all positioned ready for that to happen. So as soon as we went into lockdown, we were able to respond and react very, very quickly. Within a couple of hours, everything was done and we were moving. And that was fine. We obviously went through that process. And during that process, I started planning again. And I started planning for what I saw as the third lockdown. Now, I actually thought the third lockdown would be kicking in this weekend. I thought we'd be going into lockdown effectively on probably tomorrow, maybe Sunday coming up. And we'd be in lockdown until February half term. That was my prediction. So we went into it a little bit earlier. Actually, we went into it a good few weeks too late. But neither here nor there. So we obviously Christmas, come into lockdown. But the beautiful thing for us as a business is we're ready. All of our letters were ready to go for our staff. So we had all the furlough letters ready. We knew which members of staff were going to be going where. We'd already appointed new managers or new duty managers at the sites. So they were ready. The management structure was ready. We already had customers, contacts ready to go. We had everything ready. All the information for the websites ready to go. So we actually decided, or I decided there was a few of us that had the discussion, so it wasn't just me, but ultimately I made the final decision to close Shrewsbury a few days before lockdown because we saw it coming, felt it was a responsible thing to do, so we did that. So we were 2 days ahead of the government, which gave us such a head start. I mean, 2 days in the business world isn't a huge amount. I mean, it is a head start, but 2 days in the business world, when you're about to close every single company, or 90% of businesses in the country, 2 days head start is a huge amount, gargantuan amount of time. So when the lockdown was announced, and I was sat there with some of my team, and they said, you're going to be locking down basically. And I watched businesses panic and struggle, and people start going, crap, what are we going to do? And me and my team just sat there and went, we're done. We have literally done everything we need to do. And that was huge testament to the planning we put in place, the focus we applied on it to the minute detail, and then obviously being able to execute it. And now what we are is we're sat here. I wouldn't say we're comfortable, far from comfortable, but we are sat here knowing exactly what our strategy for 2021 is, knowing or expecting that we're not going to take a single penny in income, not one single penny, but we're going to have thousands of pounds going out of the accounts because we've still got all of our bills, we're going to have customer refunds and such like that, but we're going to make one single penny until the 1st of April. And that is a plan that we have in place. That's exactly what our budgets say. That's how we're going to finish our financial years. And it has allowed us to really structure our year quite nicely. And I think it's going to put us ahead of the curve. It's not a bag, it's not a bag, it's not a brag, it's not a boast. It's just the reality of forward thinking of where things are going to be. And here's my prediction. So I'm going to chuck it out there in terms of how I see the lockdown running. We're going to be in lockdown now until February half term. So February half term, I think it's the third week of February. The week after February half term will be when primary school kids will go back to school, as long as they're not in really highly infected areas. So that's where primary school kids will be going back. About a week to 10 days after that, we'll see secondary schools go back. Again, apart from the highly infected areas, the really high raging areas, so some of the tier 4s we saw, we'll see those kids going back, like I say, towards end of February, beginning of March. Followed by that, beginning of March, the first week in March, We're going to see non-essential retail open, so things like clothes stores and charity shops and stuff like that. And then the 31st of March, probably the 1st of April, which basically is the Easter holidays, we will that stage see everything else. So hospitality, travel, tourism, leisure, all those kind of things will then open up. So I'm not expecting to have the doors to the prison open until the 1st of April. If we can open earlier, great. We're ready for it. We're planning for it. Morris is on right now. He will be able to tell you we could open tomorrow if we wanted to. But my expectation is we won't be opening until the 1st of April. But we've got an amazing Easter campaign. We've got an Easter egg trail all built, ready to go. We've got obviously all the tours and everything there ready. We're doing development work at the moment at both sites. So they did the recce's yesterday, or they did the surveys yesterday, I should say, at Shepton. To do some work there at the end of February. We are just waiting for the final quotations and works orders to come in at Shrewsbury. I'm hoping, it's not confirmed yet, but we're going to be building a new visitor centre at Shrewsbury over the next couple of weeks, or a couple of months, I should say. So we're going to be really ready to go. They've built 3 new interpretation spaces, I think, already this week at Shrewsbury. So it is really, really moving, which is good. And like I say, it was down to the planning and the focus, and now the execution that we're able to do it. Okay, let's answer some questions. I cut my finger, just sliced it. So nothing serious. It just kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. So the bandage kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So don't worry, it won't kill me, I promise. My new business. Now I can't talk about new business yet. You are going to love it. I will promise you that. It's very Joel-esque. It's very entrepreneurial. It's very, very exciting. I'm going to spend a good chunk of my time in that new business. I need to recruit a couple of people to come and work in it. So I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to do that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So probably, I think maybe beginning to middle of February, we'll be ready to announce that one and start to publicize what that is. But you'll hear me talking about it over the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, people are just talking about reopening, I think, sort of some agreeing with me. Any news on the production, Laurie's asked? Well, I can tell you they haven't paid their bloody bill. We are at the moment having a bit of a debate with the production company from one of the previous productions, the big production, because they haven't paid their bill. And we're trying to get hold of the appropriate people to organise it. Firstly, they wouldn't answer the phones, so that took a little bit of time to finally get them to answer the phones. Finally got them to answer their phones, and then they basically washed their hands of it, which was great. So now we're having to go to the business affairs department in that organisation to get them to pay, I think it's 11.5 grand. So there's 11.5 grand outstanding on an invoice. The last person I spoke to is basically saying they're not going to pay it. They don't feel they're responsible for it. It wasn't in the contract. We obviously deem the contract different to that. We interpret it differently to that. And now we're in a bit of a situation where we need to sort out what's going to get paid and what's not. But currently, as we see it, we are owed £11,500 by a production organisation. I can't talk about who it is at this stage. If they don't pay it, we're going to take legal action. That may change things. But yeah, we're currently 11.5 grand out of pocket, money that's been spent for the production that we have billed back, and they are now refusing to pay. So we will see. I will keep you updated on that one. That's about as much as I can say really at this stage. She's gone a bit cold. Okay, right. That's half an hour in. What do you want to go through next? Any particular questions? Anything particular people have got burning to ask or go through or want to know about? I'll see if I can find a picture in my office actually once we do that. I am going to post up like a journey of what happened in my office. I have got, this is a little bit sad. Here's a picture of my old office. I've stripped it. There we go. So that's it, completely empty, because obviously everything came out of it. I think I've got another one from a different angle. There we go. So that is my old office that I did many, many videos from. I love that office. I've been in there for 5 years, don't forget. So I've been in there for a long time. 5 years is a long period of time to be in one space. Actually, I can show you, I took a photo. That's what it looked like before I stripped it. And obviously now it's empty. Let me see if I can find a photo of my new office. Though. I don't know if I've taken any yet. I don't think I've bloody taken any. That's a bit shocking, isn't it? Crap. I do apologise. I have not taken photos of my new office. I will do that tomorrow. I will share some stuff on Instagram of my new office. But what I can to say is Graham has been working nice and hard. I captured him today. Doing his other job is the cleaner, cleaning out a new space for us. And obviously Graham being Graham, loves to pose for a camera. So yeah, I got that for him. Socially distanced obviously today. I was quite a distance away from him as well. So yeah, so that's all good to go. I did as well with Emma. I took these photos of Jonah because he's 7 now. 7? Yeah, he's 7, nearly 8. Jesus. But I've got photos of him 5 years ago, sat in that exact same place in the exact same position, which is very, very small. So yeah, so I took some photos of Jonah for that. Right, let's have a quick look. You don't have much luck with production. Actually, do you know what? Generally, it's not too bad with production companies because we have quite a few, but normally they're absolutely fine. So yeah, so that normally they're absolutely fine. This one is just the big one that we had that left us sort of I think it's like 48, 50 grand now. I think the bill for them, but that was only about 38,000. It's escalated because of all the fees, all the court fees, and all the bailiff fees and stuff like that. That was just a Jack the Lad type of production, really, to a degree. And I wouldn't call them. I mean, they were a professional outfit, I guess, but yeah, they're sort of all the after costs where they've left the site in such a state. We then have to clean it and tidy it, and all those costs add up. But trying to chase a production like that for money once they've left is really hard. This one is actually a very, very, very big company, a very big corporation, I should say. So they're not going anywhere. They're not going to disappear and hide. It's not. I'm not even calling it an argument at this stage. We are interpreting the contract differently to what they're interpreting the contract, and we're just trying to tie that up. So it's not really about luck. It's about those kind of things. Somebody's just said you need to get money up front from now on. We do get money up front. We absolutely do get money up front, and we also get money through stages as we go. Depends on the size of production. We've obviously got very solid legal contracts in place, which is what we're going to fall back on. But there are additional fees that we can't charge up front. Things like utilities, electric, water, things like breakages. Those kind of things we don't know. Those always come post the hire, because obviously we can't work it out until they finish. So that's where we're up to. And yeah, like I say, I mean, we'll get it one way or the other. It will come back. And if they decide not to pay us, then we'll obviously take a legal process and we'll go down the legal route, and we'll go from there. It's just a shame, really, that what is a really good relationship to a point then gets soured because there's this argument about whether this should be paid or not, how we interpret contracts, and that becomes solicitors to deal with. It's for people far smarter than me to deal with, so I let them do it. So yeah, right. Last live before you were ill, you were arguing with the wife and kids. Oh no, that was ages ago. That was beginning of December. Yeah, that's all sorted now. You know what arguments are like with family members and kids and stuff like that. Sort of blow up and calm down, blow up and calm down. So yeah, that's all good. As long as my wife doesn't see the fact that I left her off my New Year's resolution lists, I was in trouble. So that's kind of that, really. I'm trying to think what else is gone on. I'm going to be doing more videos coming forward now that I've got a little bit more time. Our workforce development /HR/employee relations. We're changing the entire format of that piece of our company. So Shelley is back now, which is great. So she's back off maternity leave. So she started back this week. So she's working. What a hell ride she's had coming back into this, because she's just straight back into a role, like kind of flexi furloughed, can't come onto the site in the same way as we used to, so can't connect with the team the same as we used to. They're all furloughed, so I was just like, oh my God, how do I manage this one? Charlie down at Shepton Mallet, he's broken his leg. So he broke his leg last week, I think it was. So he's currently in plaster and won't be mobile. I think he's plastered for about 6 weeks. I think he's non weight bearing for another 2. So yeah, that's had an impact. We've got the 2 new duty managers started. I think I spoke previously about Felicity down at Shepton Mallet. So Flick is started at the beginning of January. So because Charlie is incapacitated, she is doing all of the building checks and the day-to-day stuff on site, because obviously they're big buildings. We still have to manage them, still do all the stuff that comes along with big buildings. And on top of that, winter's really the difficult time because the rain, the cold, all that sort of stuff really does bite into the buildings. So she's at Shepton doing that. Lucy has got the job at Shrewsbury. So she's got the equivalent job, the duty manager position at Shrewsbury. So she's doing a very similar thing, but Lauren's obviously still able to work. So between the 2 of them, they're doing all the building checks and stuff like that. And I'm still in every single day at the moment, on Monday to Friday at Shrewsbury. I'm still working from office there. Doing different bits and pieces, and a couple of the other team are in as well, because they're doing building interpretation spaces, maintenance, construction work, manufacturing bits and pieces for escape rooms and things like that. So there's still a very, very small team working out the prisons, just keeping them going, but with so much space, with 4 acres of site, we literally don't see each other at all. I only literally walked past a room earlier today, saw Graham vacuuming, grabbed a photo and was gone again. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Darren, let's have a quick look. You got any jobs at Shrewsbury? Always, Darren. Always got jobs at Shrewsbury. Let's have a quick look. I'm going to have a quick look at your Facebook profile, Darren, whilst you're on here. Let's have a quick look, because this is what I'll always do. I'll always have a quick look at people's Facebook profiles and social media profiles just to see what they're all about. But yeah, we've got a couple of things kind of coming up. I think I'm going to get into a world where I want a technician. So like how do I explain it? Basically somebody that knows streaming, stuff like this effectively. There's a technician that can do, a production technician, if you will. So somebody that can do like iPods, somebody that can do podcasts, vlogcasts, that kind of stuff. Understands the difference of what technology to use, what camera systems to use, what streaming software to use, plugging it all in, downloading media, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to need sort of a techie like that. We are looking at potentially bringing somebody else in to our marketing team, specifically to work in social media marketing. But our expectation was that would have been an apprentice, but I don't think that's going to happen now, because obviously apprentices. So yeah, so there's always bits and pieces. It just depends on what you want to do, really, and what you're qualified to do, I think is the key things. So let's have a quick look. Scream shouting yes, tech no. So well, there we go. But you know, we've always got stuff, and again, one of the big things I wanted to do with 2021 was I wanted to diversify our business portfolio. At the moment, we've got a really nice foundation of a business portfolio. We've got 2 really good tourist attractions, heritage-led tourist attractions. We've got a really good events company. We've obviously got a centralized team, or the Campbell Group team, as we call it, which is our parent company. So they're all nicely established. But the Campbell Group's almost like a business administration company, if you will. It services those kind of things. The events company is a B2B events business. That's not really operating at the moment. Obviously, tourist attractions are a direct to customer. Traditionally, tourist attraction, they're not operating. So I want to diversify that portfolio. So with things like COVID, when they do hit and stuff like this, we're not suddenly like running around crazy going, oh my God, what the hell are we going to do? So yeah, so that's part of my plan for this year, is, like I say, just broaden that portfolio. And that's one of the things that the new company's doing. It's probably slowed down the incubation hub a little bit. I wouldn't say I got dismayed with the incubation hub. by any sense. If anything, I think I'm probably more excited about it than previously. But what I want to do is I want to start a new business. I don't really want to start a new business, but I'm starting a new business. So I'm going to kind of track and push the process so people can see it happening. Because I just think the trouble with the incubation hub at the moment is the concept is sound, and there's so much good stuff there. There's so many good things that people can get from me and my team. But I just think that we probably haven't achieved enough or high enough level yet for new entrepreneurs, new business people to look at us and go, yeah, those guys really know what they're talking about. I don't think we've quite got there yet. Despite the fact being, I had a council contact me earlier this week, or end of last week, earlier this week, to just give them just have a conversation with them, give them some advice and a little bit more direction, answer some questions around a bid that they're making for a prison. And they want to develop into an attraction. So, we are recognised certainly in certain fields. Laurie's off to Google the problem. So yeah, I think I'm pretty much there, to be honest. I've got sort of a couple of minutes left, but there's no rhyme or reason to finishing early. So yeah, I think I'm pretty much there. Next week, I don't know what we'll talk about. We'll see. But yeah, it's been good to get back. It's good that I'm feeling better. It's nice to have people commenting and stuff like that. And yeah, like I say, next week, come armed with questions if you like, and I'll quite happily answer them. And we'll see what sort of stage we're up to. There's some good things coming with Shrewsbury and Shepton as well, with the branding and the new look and the feel and stuff like that. We're going to start drip feeding that in as well. So take care, everybody. Have a good week, and I'm sure I will speak and see and hear from some of you throughout the next 7 days. And obviously, I look forward to catching up with you all next week on Thursday. Take care. Bye.